What's up YouTube, Jason here with Byte.My.Bits, and in today's video I introduce to you a brand new series that I plan on doing every month. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to call it, but for right now I have a working title of Jason Talks Back. It's not terribly creative, but it's what I got. So Jason Talks Back. The goal here with this series is to go through and answer some questions or respond to some comments that happened, from the previous month, basically. You could probably say it's inspired by Paul and his Probing Paul that he does every month. But don't worry, I'm not just trying to plagiarize someone else's idea, even though it's not Paul's first idea. This actually stems from Patreon. You see, a long time ago I started a Patreon account. I said, hey, if you guys want to donate to it, I definitely appreciate it. I didn't have any reward tiers set up or anything going with it. In fact, I just basically told myself that I would leave all of that money alone and not touch it and wait until it did save up to something somewhat significant so I could buy like a Plex client or something to test out and make a video over. So the idea there was to just save the money and do something good with it once there was enough. And honestly, there's a lot of doubt of self-worth thing going on where I'm like, I don't really think anyone's going to donate to it, but I'll throw it up either way. So I kind of ignored it for longer than I should have. But the other day I got another donation pop up in my email and it just made me think, why the heck am I not addressing this? So with that said, to all of my Patreon supporters out there, there's like $16 a month now coming from you guys. I appreciate every single dollar you send to me. Definitely know that all that money is being saved on Patreon right now, waiting for a grand video to be made once I accumulate a decent amount of money, basically. So to back up a little bit, I wanted to give some sort of a reward or just acknowledgement that people are giving me some money and supporting what I do here. So I wanted to do at least one video a month where I give credit where credit is due to those Patreon supporters. And what better way than to start a whole separate video that I can stay on track with, and it's on schedule at the end of every month, and it's going to address those comments or questions or whatever I have, and then list those Patreon supporters at the end of the video. So moving on, I'm going to jump right into probably I have 13 different questions and comments that I can respond to depending on how long-winded I get. I may or may not make them through all of this. Obviously, I don't want like a 30-minute video or anything. For my first question, I have user Zimba's Doom Corner. The question is, are more cores better for Plex? I had 60 to 70% load on my i7 4790K, loading a 12 megabit per second video file in Plex. Original video is lossless Blu-ray. This is actually a good question, and this is something I've experienced before in the past. It's been a long time where I noticed that the transcoder, when it fires up and it starts doing its work, sometimes it can put a lot of load or strain on the CPU, even though it's really not working very hard. What I have noticed from that same exact experiment of when that did happen is that even though it was using a lot of CPU, that it was still able to load other video files concurrently without any kind of extra CPU process. Now this is something that I noticed a long time ago. I haven't approached it or noticed it or even paid any attention to the processing power since, but I can say that even though it does look like it's working overtime for just one video file, that it should be able to handle, especially with that CPU, many more streams on top of that. So don't just think that using 60 or 70% on one video file is going to be a limitation of your media server that you won't be able to play another file. I guarantee you with that CPU, assuming you're set up correctly, you don't have any faulty hardware or misconfigurations, you should be able to handle a lot more streams than that. While editing this video, I realized I didn't even answer the original question. So yes, more cores is better, but the speed of the cores is also a major factor as well. Number 2, from Brian Rodriguez. Ever wondered if Plex will go out of business in 5 years? What will you do if that happens? I would cry. There would be a pool of tears in my bedroom as I cry myself to sleep every night. But no, in all seriousness, if Plex did go out of business and the software stopped working, I would literally just find the next best thing. I mean, obviously I love Plex and I love everything about Plex. There's always features that I want to add and everything, but I am a true Plex enthusiast. So if something like that were to happen, I would just find the next best thing and throw everything I got at it. Next question is Matthew Bouvier. He says, dedicating your channel mostly to Plex seems like a bad growing decision, as this is a small niche in the tech world. You are limiting your audience greatly unless you are being sponsored by Plex, in which case this all makes sense. Now, this is actually something I agree with, but I also kind of have my own arguments against it to disagree. And to address the elephant in the room, Plex does give me affiliate links in the descriptions below that do help me out if somebody signs up for a free Plex account or buys a lifetime Plex pass. But I was making Plex videos before the affiliate links, and if the affiliate links go away, I will still be making the same Plex videos. So it has no bearings on whatsoever on what kind of content that I make or what I put in that content. As far as dedicating everything to Plex, I agree. Again, I kind of agree, but I kind of don't. Basically, the tech world, the tech YouTube world is so oversaturated by everybody and their dog who wants to, build computers or do tech-related things and make videos about it. So when I was messing around with Plex and trying to figure things out, I found myself constantly looking for videos related to the problems or things that I was trying to address at the time. And I was able to find that help in form of text or different write-ups, but I wasn't able to find a lot of videos about it. So I just pretty much found something that needed filled, and I filled it. And I would like to think that most of my subscribers probably come from some sort of a Plex video. Not all of them, of course, but a lot of them probably come from, Plex related videos. So I'd like to say that, focusing on Plex for the time being is definitely addressing my core audience. Now, is it going to give me, a million subscribers? Absolutely not, because it, like you said, it is a niche market, and I do want to expand in the future, but it really boils down to money, because what I really want to get into is reviewing and thoroughly testing things like processors, which would take a lot of money to do. So, and before I can really afford to do that kind of stuff, I just got to work with what I have. And besides all of that, I still view this channel, considering how much money I spend on it and to get everything up and running and all the gear that I buy, I still view it as a hobby because it doesn't really make money. So I just have to consider it a hobby as it is and not really take it too serious in the form of sweating over how many subscribers I have or worried because I don't have 100,000 or a million. I grow as I grow, and I accept what I get, and I'm just grateful for what I have, and I'm not really going to stress the small stuff like a subscriber number, basically. Next question from Tamar5E115. Hi Jason, does Plex sponsor your videos? I feel this should be disclosed if so. Now, the reason why I chose this comment to address again was because technically, they do sponsor it in the form of affiliate links in all of my video descriptions, but I just want to put a message out to everybody and just reiterate, it has no bearings on any videos that I make. They don't give me any topics to cover. They don't tell me what I can or can't post. I could post a video right now and say Plex is the absolute worst software I've ever used, and it's not going to change my affiliate link status. I'm still going to have the same thing. So, sponsor or not, I've always made Plex videos, and I will continue to make Plex videos as long as Plex exists and YouTube exists, unless I die or just stop making YouTube videos altogether. But if I'm here, I'm making Plex videos. Tim Stewart, I would like to be able to add movies together in a set. This is useful when you're scrolling through your library, and let's say you get to Star Wars. As it stands now, you view all of them together. When using sets, you would only see one entry from Star Wars. When you click on that, it brings up all the movies in that set. Cody uses this, and it makes your library look a lot cleaner. Yes, I didn't think about this because I've just been dealing with it for so long, but yes, that is an excellent feature, and I hope that Plex would probably see that comment and, address that. Next question is from Is You Thug. I'm not a thug. I guess sometimes, I don't know. I want to wake on LAN support. I only use my server for Plex, so I don't need it running all the time. People I share my libraries with shouldn't have to install an app that sends magic packets to the computer so it'll wake up. Sure, I could buy a router that has it built in, but I don't see why Plex couldn't implement it. Well, I think the complexity of your question is actually in your question, and that's having a device wake your device up. Now, I'm not an expert on Wake on LAN, but in the handful of times that I've had to use it, I have to have another computer on the same local area network in order to send those packets. Now, of course, you could probably do it from outside the internet with some port forwarding and all that, but this is just really basic stuff now. Either way, you need another device that has something set up in order to send those packets. So for Plex to implement this, they would have to do one of a few things. First of all, they could set up some sort of a Wake on LAN system through their actual servers that go to a specific port and wakes your computer up. You would have to configure port forwarding. Plex would have to have that option. I mean, there's a few things that would have to work, but that would be possible. Another option would be some sort of an add-on or a plugin that you can install into a capable router where it would wake up your computer, if it gets that Plex request. That could be an option because it's already on your internal network and it's already gathering all the data from the outside. The third option is to train a dog or a cat to go to your computer and turn it on when you need it. I mean, I think that's probably the best option, but either way, it's a good feature. I think it might be a little difficult to implement, maybe for some security reasons or other, but I think it's a good feature and I would like to see that feature as well. Lamarck's asked, can you tell me what happens if I set audio quality to 192 kilobits per second? Will lower quality audiobooks be transcoded or streamed in the original quality? I personally do not listen to audiobooks. In fact, I don't even have music on my server, but I can say if it's gonna act anything like video does, which I'm sure it does, it's probably gonna just stream in the highest quality available up into your settings. As for example with videos, let's say you set your maximum transcoding quality to something like 8 megabits per second. You start up a movie, but that movie is only a maximum of 6 megabits per second. Plex is automatically going to give you that top tier quality or direct play if your bandwidth can handle it without any kind of transcoding. It's definitely not going to upscale it and make you use more bandwidth or make your server work harder than what it should be. The next question is from Gary Lai. What do you think about Plex plus rclone, which encrypts and uploads media files to Google or Amazon Cloud or Dropbox? With this, you only need a very small amount of local storage space to run a large Plex library, so probably one could shrink a rack full of server into a NUC. Gary, I don't like clouds when it comes to my media. I'll just come right out and say it. I've never used Plex Cloud. I've never used any kind of cloud service to store any of my media files. I probably can say with 99% certainty I never will. I don't trust them. I don't like the reliance on the web service. I'm not getting into that at all, and I have no plans to, ever. Whether it's some kind of like copyright infringement, let's say you record something on DVR through the Plex DVR system and you upload it, and then Amazon or Google or whatever flags it for copyright infringement, then you get in trouble for it. I don't want to run that risk. I mean, you obtained it over the air for a free signal and you stored it and then you uploaded it and then you get flagged for copyright. I don't know if that's a thing. I really don't, but I see it as a possibility. So that's what I think about it. Nicholas Smith said, definitely a diagnostic tool would help. Spent hundreds and tons of hours to troubleshoot buffers on my TV to get everything upgraded and find out my TV's NIC is crap. That is why I want that feature. That is why I think a standalone diagnostic feature that runs tests on your CPU, your transcoding, your hard drives, your everything from your storage median to your transcoding median, all the way to your network interface. I think a one-stop shop to diagnose everything for you, to at least bare minimum give you a starting point, would be amazing. And if Plex doesn't make it, then we need a third-party plugin that we can add on. I feel like it would save a lot of hassle. Tyler Lindbergh said, more server videos, ? Smiley face. I don't have much new with my server. That's kind of sad, I know, but I set my server up. I did my build videos, my little vlogs or whatever, and then I did my introduction to Zeus, and I got everything set up, and nothing has changed, really. I put 2 more hard drives in it, and I added an LED, ring around the server rack just to make it RGB. But that's it. I haven't done anything, and to make another video covering the exact same thing with no changes would just be boring. The thing is that it works well. I don't really have to make very many changes. Sometimes I update Unraid to get, something going or whatever, but it just works. It's just one of those things that I kind of forget about for a long time, and I never really have to do anything with. Now, I can say that sometimes I play around with Unraid and different features that it has and just a few things here and there, but that's more of a boredom thing on my part. Nothing has really changed with the server. And while we're on topic, I'll mention a YouTube channel that I've actually referenced for a few different things. I believe his YouTube channel is called Spaceinvader 1. I'll look that up when I'm editing and put that in the description below, probably on the screen somewhere too. But this is a channel that he seems to dedicate a lot of resources to, exploring different aspects of Unraid, how to, do pass-throughs and how to do various things with Unraid. He seems to know what he's talking about, and the few videos that I've referenced to do things on my server have worked out for me. So if you are into Unraid or new to it, or you want to explore different things with your new server or your old server or whatever, that would probably be a good place to start if you haven't already found it in the search bar. So CJJ, he said, wait, so 11 streams maxed out the dual Xeons. I know. Okay, so this was on an intro video to Zeus where I said, hey, look at my amazing server, blah, blah, blah. And I tested it and I only got 11 streams. Now, at the time, I was kind of questioning those results, but I tested it a couple times and that's what I came up with. It was still way better than what I had, but not what I thought it could do. Either way, I just accepted it and moved on and reported my results. But I kind of want to address this again because when I started doing the Battle OS series, I started to notice that my testing parameters, what I was using and how I was testing it, was kind of flawed. And the limitation really stemmed from the browser. Chrome, for whatever reason, and I cannot explain this, if I hit too many streams with Chrome, it just stopped loading other movies. Like the server was capable of handling more transcoded streams, but it just wouldn't load a movie. So in my Battle OS series, I actually use multiple browsers to do my testing. That way, no one browser was overloaded. Even though a lot of those browsers were still Chromium based, they were still a different application itself, so I was able to avoid that limitation. So if I do reapproach this, I will probably reapproach it with my new testing criteria that I use for Battle OS. The only problem is that I have some VMs running that I don't like shutting down for any period of time, so I'll have to wait until I do some maintenance on those or something, and then maybe I can retest it out just to see what it could do, probably with the same testing parameters I did in Battle OS, just so I can get like a good baseline number doing it correctly. So yeah. Tate Hoot, I'm pretty sure I said that right. I need some help. Maybe you can do a video on Plex installed on Ubuntu and dual boot Windows 7 desktop. The problem is Plex does not see any files on the mounted NTFS partition. It sees the partition but not the files. I'm gonna stop right there because when I do a video on, either a Linux build or whatever, something primarily dealing with Linux, I am not an expert. I am not a Linux expert by any definition. Most of the stuff that I figure out how to do, I have to Google and read through different articles and pick and choose from different tutorials and how to do something to achieve what I want to do. I can say this. When it comes to this kind of stuff, I'm good at finding the things that I need, knowing where to start, what to search for, what path I have to go down to find what I need, because sometimes that takes a little bit of skill, just knowing what to look for or what problem you have, but I'm not an expert. So if I were to get into something like this, for one, that's kind of a niche thing, because I don't know how many people would want to run Windows 7 with like Ubuntu and then just switch back and forth. I would think if you're going to run a Plex server, you would just have it running all the time. But I would recommend posting your issues on the Plex forums where you can, line out exactly what you're trying to do, what problems you're trying to have. And there are so many people there that are like a million times smarter than I am, and they might be able to either link you to the correct articles or point you in the right direction in order to get that working. I'm sure that there's probably some magical, command that you can type into Linux and it's like, oh, everything works now. I just don't know it. I apologize. Last one today, Van Huter says, who thinks new house, new intro? So who thinks that? Who thinks new house, new intro? Who thinks my intro sucks and I need to replace it again? Let me know in the comments below, because I like the intro. I think it's short and sweet. It has everything all in one. It does everything. Maybe you don't. Let me know in the comments if you hate it and you want me to start exploring a different intro. I'm up for options. I do like the idea of a new house, new intro if I need to, but I feel like the one I have works pretty well. So let me know what you think. So that's it for today. That is all the questions and comments that I have to cover. I do want to take just a second, and I will load these in the very end. I do want to thank a couple people on my Patreon that has given money to me. So Michael, $5. Nicholas Smith, $5. He's actually turned out to be a long-time subscriber. Brian, he's given me $5. I appreciate everything. Gandalf, $2, Carlos, $1, David, $1, Tony, $1, Frank, $1, Christian, $1, and Rudy, $1. Now, I'm not going to do that every video. I wanted to say, guys, thank you. A lot of things on YouTube don't bother me like they do other YouTubers that I see. Like for example, Barnacles, I see a lot of him being affected by like negative comments or something like that. And like none of that has ever bothered me. I knew going into YouTube what it would be like. So that was never a problem for me. My only problem, I think, is self-worth, where I don't feel like people would donate to what I'm doing. I feel like I just need to crawl my way to the top by myself, not rely on anybody, not ask for anything, that sort of thing. So it took a lot for me to just man up and say, you know what, if someone wants to donate and wants to support what I do, I'm at least give them an option. I just didn't think anyone would, but they did. So now that I notice that people are doing this, and it's not much, and it doesn't matter if it's $1 or $16 or $1 million, it's still people who are supporting me for what I do, and with no guarantee of reward. So to me, that's true patrons right there. I mean, they just support me. With that said, I did log in and I set up some different tiers. I don't really know what to do for rewards, so I just had like an ad block heroes thing, a video credits thing, and then an exclusive blooper reel thing. These are just the ones I came up with like late last night. I want to start offering something to my Patreon subscribers, give some kind of a reward or some kind of thank you, every month to those who, decide to support me and not be ignored by me anymore. And I am definitely sorry if you are a Patreon subscriber and you forgot. Now's the time to log in and cancel that, because I'm taking like $1 from you every month. But if you are a Patreon subscriber, again, I thank you. I'm going to start making it worth your while. I'm going to start giving video credits. I'm going to start addressing, depending on how this goes, I'm up for reward ideas. Like I said, I came up with 3 of them. One's not really a reward. It's just more like, hey, whatever. But either way, it's something that I'm going to tackle now and I'm going to focus on. And I want to stay every month making this video, putting credits where credit is due, and just addressing it. So thanks again to everybody. Even if you're not a patron, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Like the video below if you like this video. If you think this is a dumb idea or I need a better format or something like that, I try to read most of the comments as much as I can. So leave them down below. If you have questions that you want possibly in the next video, leave them below as well, because I will be focusing a lot on this video to look for different questions that people might have for me, whether it's related to Plex or other hardware, the channel, whatever. Just put them down below and you might be featured in the next video. But anyways, this video is probably way longer than what it should be. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.